Well, we are joined now by Antonio Delgado. He is the CEO of MA & Associates. They are the testing partner for Pazoo Incorporated. Antonio, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, as I mentioned, you're the company that's going to be doing the testing. We've been talking about this with David just a moment ago. The company is extraordinarily excited about this. Tell us a little bit about what your company does.
Our company does, we are basically essentially providing a service to the public that would like to use medicinal marijuana as a coping mechanism, as medication. We're going to make sure it's clean of purities, potency, heavy metals, residual solvents, cannabinoid profiles. We are basically, in hindsight, quote unquote, the FDA of medical marijuana.
Okay. Now, David mentioned that every 5 pounds, according to the state of Nevada, has to be tested. What are some of the tests that you actually conduct?
Well, some of the tests that we actually conduct, we don't actually test the whole 5 pounds. We take out little samples out of the 5 pounds, and we test for cannabinoid profiles, potency, residual solvents, and heavy metals.
Now, is this similar, I guess, and David did mention this, but you're the expert, I want to get this from you. Is this similar to the kind of testing that we hear about with over-the-counter drugs or pharmaceuticals?
We're actually holding our standards to the FDA. Or we're trying to exceed them, actually. But since medical marijuana is not a federally legal drug, we're just basing our standards and exceeding to them to make sure that everybody has a quality product.
Well, you mentioned that, but I mean, we are really quickly approaching federal legalization. I think it's 27 states now have some form of legalization. Florida just missed doing it in the last election. But this is really hurtling towards national legalization. Even the Attorney General said that they weren't even going to get involved in the banking side of it. What do you think about that?
I think eventually there's going to be a universal testing procedures for across the states, whether it be all 50 states, whether it goes legal or whether it does not. We all foresee it. This is going to be this is the prohibition of our era.
Well, you're absolutely right, because what we're seeing really is truly unprecedented, both from a legal and a cultural standpoint. I mean, we're seeing something that we haven't really seen in nearly 100 years.
You're absolutely right. This is like we could be the Kennedys of the Prohibition era coming up, per se. We're coming across something that's very new, but it's also very taboo across different states. For example, if you go to Texas, which is a very conservative state, this is not exactly very well accepted. But if you go out to California, for instance, it's very well embraced.
Well, you look at states like California, which is still, is legalized from a medical standpoint, but now we have states like Oregon and Colorado, where it's legal from a recreational standpoint. That's something that I don't think I ever thought we would see in our lifetime.
You know what? Neither did we. And this is why the testing industry is so critical. I just read an article the other day that 11 people died in Oregon from edibles, and it was because it was not properly tested. It wasn't properly regulated.
That's the first I've heard of that. So someone actually had reactions to edibles because they weren't properly tested.
Weren't properly tested or administered correctly. Anything that you digest, anything that you consume, it should be tested. Whether it be food, whether it be Tylenol, whether it be Advil, whether it be Pedialyte, it's something that should always be approved by a testing facility of sorts.
Well, of course, when it came to marijuana, until these last few years where this revolution has started, everything with marijuana was being done in the black market.
Yes.
It was all done in the illegal black market. We didn't really know what was coming across, and now we're seeing this come under government control, under government approval. I mean, when you think about it, this is really a good thing.
I think it's a great thing, and I think we went from the black market into the grayer markets. Since this is still federally illegal, this is why I like the position that we're in. Since we don't grow it, we don't sell it, we're just the tester, we're just the middleman, and this is where we found a lot of leeway room. Banks are willing to work with us. A lot of things are changing, and I think it's just gone from that dark market, watching Nintendo games, playing Nintendo games and eating Doritos to like, oh wow, this is actually can be very, very useful going down the road.
Well, what you're doing in your company, what your company is doing is you're filling a need that I think a lot of people didn't realize was even necessary until legalization happened.
I think we're filling a need that nobody ever knew that even this sector existed.
Right.
Until maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was something that was like, all right, at the end of the day, it's just marijuana. Now, what are we testing it for?
Now, I tried to put David on the spot a few minutes ago. I'm going to try to do the same with you. But with the demand that we can anticipate, do you anticipate any concerns over trying to keep up with the demand that you know is going to come your way once the lab is operational?
Not for a second. not even for a quick second. We are completely equipped with our technology partners of Steep Hill. We are completely equipped with the know-how of the technology and the machinery that we'll be able to maintain the whole state of Nevada if need be.
Okay. How about security? I mean, you're going to be taking in all of this product, and it's a product that people want. Are you worried about that?
You know what about the security of this? Since I'm not testing the whole 5-pound batch, I'm only taking out grams.
Okay.
And it takes us about 17 minutes to process each little batch. But once it's processed, it gets disposed of.
I see.
It gets thrown into these drums, and a hazmat company at the end of the week will come pick it up and throw it out.
Fascinating. M.A. and Associates, Antonio Deliero. And Antonio, this is a fascinating interview. I want to thank you so much. Congratulations on being licensed, being the top license.
Yes.
You guys got a real distinction from the state of Nevada. Congratulations on that. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.